Ever experienced being in a group or as part of a meeting that everybody is just shouting over each other, nobody's really listening to each other? Then keep watching. So today we are going to explore the overinflated ego traps in more depth. Now, I call them overinflated because what they give us is an overinflated sense of power in any given moment. And that helps us soothe whatever anxiety we might be experiencing at that time. So let's choose a typical sort of scenario. Imagine that we're in a meeting, and that particular meeting is to solve a problem. And what you might observe in that meeting is different people interacting and responding in certain ways in relation to that problem. So let's look at person number one in that meeting. They are so keen to get to an action. They just want to get it sorted out as quickly as possible. They've got a very loud voice in the meeting. They want to get through it. They want to get the action, and they may even coerce and verbally push other people to take action they might not even want to take, but it helps them feel better because we've got to a solution and we're leaving this meeting and we've got a whole list of actions to take away with us. Compare that to another person in the meeting who is quite self-contained. They maybe have a reputation in relation to solving problems, to being very strong, being very clever, being able to do things and being very reliable. But that person will never ask for help. They'll take away the problem, they'll do it all themselves, they'll deal with it, and even when times get sticky, they won't be able to ask for help. Then there's that other person who, I don't know what the issue is. I don't have a problem. You know, this was something for us to deal with and we learnt to deal with it. It's all you that have an issue here, not me. And finally, there's the fourth person in the room who is completely blaming other people. It's not my fault. It's them that caused it. So why aren't they clearing it up? It shouldn't be me that has to do it. It's all about the other people. So in those four descriptions, we've summed up in very simple terms 4 of the overinflated ego traps. The first one, do it now, is all about doing things as quickly as possible so that you don't have to deal with the anxiety of firstly not being busy, but also having to understand yourself or the situation better than you do at the moment. Just let's get it done, let's get into action, and that'll keep us okay. On the one hand, deliver a lot. On the other hand, people can feel coerced and maybe even sometimes bullied by our behavior, because the downside of that ego trap is we can come across as incredibly pushy. The next ego trap that was illustrated was the person who's very self-contained, very self-reliant. They are running beliefs around we have to do things ourselves. It's not okay to ask for help. We get rewarded more by being able to do it ourselves. That is what I would call solo flight as an ego trap. And when we're running solo flight, we will keep going. People will be amazed by the level of resilience that we have. But when it comes to taking a break or having a holiday, we may find we get ill. The third person in the room was the person who was quite smug and quite superior. That sort of person is going to be resistant to feedback because they don't ever have any issues or problems. It's other people that have them. And they can't really understand why we need to be having this meeting to talk about the problem because it doesn't affect me. That is the ego trap that I call I'm all right, Jack. And on the one hand, you could say, well, they get on with it, they do it. But on the other, where it lets them down is that they're not able to empathize and build really meaningful relationships because it creates a distance in their relationships. And the final ego trap, again, quite a noisy one, an ego trap called blaming others, which is where there's a real reluctance to take responsibility for how the situation is. And when we don't take responsibility and we expect everyone else to pick up the responsibility. It doesn't move us forward. It's not a constructive way of being. On the one hand, it might make us feel better to blame others and to feel like, you know, they're the ones that have caused all these problems. But on the other, it doesn't help us move forward. So there we have the 4 ego traps. And I'm curious as to which are the ones that you relate to the most, because we all have them. For example, I know for me, I'm a do it now person. I get very concerned if we're not getting to a result and I'm not able to take action. That is something that can help me, but it can certainly hinder me as well. So have a think for yourselves. What are the ego traps that you find yourself falling into that give you that false sense of power? And also notice, where are they showing up in your relationships and with other people in your life? Do leave your comments in the box below. It's always great to hear from you. And do subscribe to my channel. And to be kept informed of videos as we put them up, please ring the bell.